Okay, how to create service, you can just look it up in here, ChatGPT. I'll link it in the description below. So it's very, very, very easy. Okay, so this is going to be our starting point. Again, I'll link it in the description below. This is the repo. You want to clone it. And then we're going to create new branch. We'll call it Angular. Well, we'll call it YouTube. Angular Services Demo. And date is 8 August 2024. Okay, here we go. Let's create Angular. So const my Angular app const equals Angular dot module. Let's call it module like this. Let's create a quick controller to make sure it's working. Controller. Capitalize. Controller. Okay, we want to do this thing. Now, honestly, you don't need to put this array bracket. You can just write the function, but I just do it because I need to train myself, muscle memory, to make sure, because in most enterprise projects you have compilers, and compilers can mess this thing up. So you either want to do it this way, or if you have ng annotations, you want to do something like this. You see? But because I don't have Angular annotations, I don't know the setup, I just do it this way. Okay, so we're gonna console log main controller. I'm not gonna do scope in here. Well, let me just put a quick title, honestly. Scope title equals my app, like this. Now I need to bind it. Ng app equals, what did I name it? I named it this. Ng controller equals this. Okay, let's put a h1 title. Okay, so there you go, it's working. I'll just put this thing in here. No, I'll just leave it in here. Make it smaller. No, I'm gonna close it like this. Where am I at? Yeah. So there you go. Honestly, we just want oh my god, why did it do this? Okay, so how do you create service? Service is omega easy. So you take your app like this, service, name it. So my service, and then function. Well, do we need scope into it? No, we don't really need scope. Function. And then we're gonna start stacking methods and... Okay, so let's say we want a variable. So it's gonna be this. Wait, how do you actually do a variable? 1 second. Well, I'm too lazy to look it up, but I think it's gonna be something like this. This dot my var equals hello from service. Okay. Now you want method or function. This my function equals function argument, and then we're gonna go return. Well, we're just gonna say well, I don't know, should we? Just leave it my function. Hello plus arc. My function with argument, like this. Okay? And that's it, now we can use it. So, for example, oh yeah, we need to import the service first. So now the service, because it's stacked into this Angular, because it's like an object, it's available to all the controllers. You see, so boom, we'll put it in here, and then we'll put it as a dependency into the arguments. Now we can use it, so we can console log. Well, do we need, okay. Well, let's do my var. So we're gonna console log my var. Whoopsie, my var. And then we're gonna console log. Well, we don't need to console log because there's already. Oh, we need to console log it. Yeah, would you? Console log my service. Dot. What's the name of this? My. Let me just call this thing like this. Okay, so there you go, everything is working. See, this is my var, hello from service, and this is my function running. Alright, so here comes the problem. I'll show you when you want to move this into a separate folder. So let's say services, and then we create a service which is called well, we'll call this what? We'll call this my service, right? My service.serve.js, right? Like this. So now we want to move this into here, like this. So what do we need to do? We need to export this thing. Then we need to import this thing in here. Now it's not going to work because you need to make this into a module. Type equals module. It's still not going to work because it will say injector error, because you have to put this file into here. That's the problem, you see? That is the problem. And again, you have to make a type module. Failed, because reference can only start with app, I think, right? Yeah. So I think we need to do like this. Okay, so now it's working. So you see it's working, everything's fine. So, here lies the problem. This is not scalable because every single time you create a service, you have to import this thing, create it, and then add it into the HTML file. So there is a better way of doing it, and I'll show you how to do it. Now, if you watched my well, statistical probability of you watching it is 0, but if you watched my router setup, it's exactly the same, as the roots setup. One sec. So long story short, we're gonna create a function in here that will take this as an argument, And then we're gonna, inside that function, we're gonna stack all of our services into this thing. And then you don't need to put scripts into the HTML. It's a lot better. It's better. So we create a new file which is called, normally it's called index, but for this purposes, services, whoops, index.js, okay? So this is where all of your, this is like an index file for your folder. In here we're gonna be importing services. So this is our I'm just making a note for myself, sorry about this, 1 second. Okay, so this is our service inside of this thing. Okay, we do not need this thing anymore. And we're just gonna use the function in here. So we're gonna use function my service, I guess. Whatever name you want for the service, okay? And we need to export this bad boy. Export default my service. Okay, that's probably not a good idea because my service is gonna be the same name. Okay, let's call it my service that says hello, like this. Okay. We need to remember to change this inside our app. Otherwise it's not going to work. There you go. Okay, so this is now exported. Now we need to import it into here. Like this. Well, first we need to import this thing. From wait, what? We can just do this, I think. What is this? Copy relative path. A little quicker like this, I think. It's the same. Okay. Now we create function main services index. And this function is going to take this thing as an argument. Okay. And we need to export this function. Export. Do we need to export? Oh yeah, we do. Export default. Yes. Main service index. And we need to import it into here. Import from. I know you probably don't understand what the hell is going on. This is not like beginner's tutorial, honestly. This is like if you are probably already working or on your way of getting a job, because it can get tricky. Where are we importing? My memory is there. JS, yes. Okay, so now we need to run this function and pass our app into it as an argument, because that's where we're going to be stacking. Okay. So the first, what are we going to name this service? We're going to name it my service that says hello, import oh my god, I probably should have named it differently. This is gonna get confusing. Let me just rename. Yeah, it's much better. Okay. So now this is gonna be the name, and then this function is gonna be here. What is he complaining about? Oh, it doesn't like the import. And that's it, like you're done. So you see everything is now back to being to working. You were like, What did I just watch? Oh my Jesus Christ. Some kind of dark sorcery. So the reason why this is better is because you can stack your services in here. You see? If you want to create another service, just do it in here, which is new file. I don't know. Calc 2 numbers service .js. Okay, so again we create export default function. You can use any syntax you want, but bottom line you need to export the function. If you don't want it to be default, doesn't matter. Calc 2 numbers arg1 arg2. Now normally you probably want to call them numbers, but whatever. Write this, do it. Whoopsie. Return arg1 plus arg2. Well, we can call it do sum, like this. There you go. Okay, so now we need to import it. Service imports, like this. So we want to, whoopsie, import this bad boy. Whoops, wrong one. Like this, whoopsie, my apologies. But what is it complaining about? Oh, they just want it to be a class declaration. Well, I'm sorry, we are using functional because we're so progressive. Okay, and now we need to add this as a service. So again, service. Whoops. So that's going to be our service name. So now it's added into our app. So you see, like this thing now has this service inside of it. So if we want to use it in some kind of a controller, we need to add it as a dependency. So what was the name again? Calc number. Okay, so same ding dong. Add it as a dependency, and then off you go, calculating two numbers. So what did we do in there? I forgot. Console log. Whoopsie. We do sum. Okay, so do sum is plus. So let's plus 2 plus 2. Okay. Well, let's do 2 plus 3. This is equal to 5, right? Whoops. What did I just press? Oh yeah, press this button. Okay. So we want dot do sum, and then 2 plus 3. So it should be 5, right? Let's just check. Should be 5. Boom. Let's see. An ultimate disaster. We got an error. Let's see what's happening here. Calc to num. Well, let me pause 1 sec. Yeah, so I haven't done a lot of research, but I think the error isn't here. I don't think you can pass, because when you do services, you want scope. Like this thing here, arguments have to be scope, translation, root scope, location. You cannot put arguments, I think, in here. You can only put them in here, in my opinion, right? I think that's the problem. Yeah. So you see, there you go, it's working. Okay, so just mental note. What type of arguments go into the service? And then question 2 is, can you put normal arguments into service? Okay, so what type of arguments go into service? Mental note. Well, actually I'm gonna put it into my question answers, but it's up to you how you're learning. So in here there has to be only Angular dependencies, so scopes, again location, HTTP, translation, or manually created services. Can you put normal arguments into it? The answer is no. If you want arguments, you have to put it into service functions. That's it. Okay? So again, the benefit of this is that you have centralized repository file, my apologies, centralized file where when you create a service, all you have to do is import your service in here, put it in here, done. Okay? Because with the previous setup, you have to create a service, you have to add it to your app, which is this thing, and you have to put it into HTML. So you can imagine if you have 2,000 services, this file is going to become unmaintainable. Whereas in here, 2,000 lines, everything is the same. You can honestly probably convert this into some kind of a mapping method, but in our project we do not do that. We just stack them like this, and we have like, I don't know, maybe about 200 services, so it's not a big deal. And we're going to change that anyway in the future to React. So there you go, okay? Have a good day. Take care, bye-bye.